I want to tell you about the trade that almost destroyed me. It started like any other morning. I woke up early, coffee on my desk, charts glowing in front of me. I had been studying for weeks, and I thought I had finally found the perfect setup. The breakout was clean, momentum was strong, and my plan told me exactly where to get out. But then, something happened. As the profit grew, a little voice whispered in my head, "Hold a little longer. Don't close yet." This could be the one. So I listened. I ignored my plan, ignored my rules, and I held. At first, I felt like a genius. The numbers kept climbing. But in a flash, everything changed. The candle reversed, violently. All the profit disappeared, and the trade went red. I stared at the screen, frozen, unable to believe what just happened. I had the win in my hand. All I had to do was close. But greed told me to take more. And in the end, it took everything. From me. If you've ever felt that, if you've ever watched profit vanish because you held too long, you know how heavy that pain is. It isn't just about the money. It's about the trust you lose in yourself. And that's why greed is the most dangerous enemy in trading. It doesn't just attack your account. It attacks your discipline. It makes you break your promises. It makes you question whether you're even capable of success. Greed is powerful because it hides inside of you. It tells you lies that sound like truth. It says you'll only hold for one more candle. It says just one more trade and you'll be rich. It says doubling your risk this time is worth it. And when you listen, it laughs at you. Because greed is never satisfied. No matter how much you win, it always wants more. The cruel part is that greed shows up the strongest when the market gives the biggest opportunities. And this is why September through December is going to test traders harder than any other time of the year. Historically, these months bring some of the cleanest and most powerful price action of the entire calendar. Volatility rises, liquidity flows, trends form that can change an entire account. The opportunities are real, and the profits can be life-changing, but only if you can resist greed. Because the same moves that can make your year can also break you if you chase them blindly. Imagine this. It's October, and the market has just swept liquidity. You see the perfect entry. You click buy, and the market runs exactly as you predicted. Your target is hit, and your plan says close. But greed whispers again. Just a little more. Don't exit yet. And if you listen, the market will punish you. It will reverse, take back your gains, and leave you broken. But if you control greed, if you lock in the win, if you trust your rules, you will finish that trade smiling, and you will finish the year strong. This is why learning to control greed is not optional. It is the foundation of survival. Every disciplined decision you make now is training for the months ahead. Every time you close where your plan says close, you are preparing for the opportunities of September, October, November, and December. Those who cannot control greed will be destroyed by the volatility. But those who can will walk away with profits they never thought possible. I learned the hard way. That one trade that almost destroyed me taught me more than any book or indicator ever could. It showed me that greed is the real trap, and that the only way forward is discipline. Now, when I look back, I realize that the pain was worth it, because it forced me to change. It forced me to grow. It forced me to master myself. And that's what I want for you. Because the months ahead are filled with opportunity. The market will offer moves that can transform your account. But the difference between those who win and those who lose will come down to one thing. Can you control your greed? Greed has many disguises. Sometimes it looks like ambition. Sometimes it looks like confidence. And sometimes it even feels like discipline, because you convince yourself that holding longer is part of a strong plan. But no matter how it appears, greed always leads to the same place. Broken rules, broken accounts, and broken confidence. I want to share a story with you. There was a trader I knew who had built his account slowly for months. He started small, followed his rules, and his balance grew step by step. By September, he was proud. He believed he had finally cracked the code. And then came one powerful trade in October. He entered perfectly. The setup was clean, the timing was right, and price exploded in his favor. In that moment, he was already up more in one trade than he had made in an entire week before. His plan told him where to exit. But greed whispered, "Hold just a little longer. This is the trade that will double your account," so he held. At first, it kept running. His balance grew bigger than he had ever seen it. He felt invincible. But then, slowly at first, and then violently, price reversed. In the chaos, he froze. He told himself it was just a pullback. He told himself it would come back. But it didn't. The market erased his profit, and then it erased more. By the time he closed, the trade that could have been a career-defining win had become one of his worst losses. That's how greed traps you. It takes something good and convinces you to ruin it. It tells you that one win is not enough. It blinds you to your own rules. It takes your discipline and replaces it with fantasy. And in volatile months like September through December, when price action is fast and powerful, those traps become even more dangerous. Greed doesn't only trap you in trades you should close, it traps you before you even enter. You see the market moving without you, and fear of missing out combines with greed. You tell yourself you cannot afford to miss this opportunity, so you jump in late. You chase the candle. And almost always, you are entering at the worst possible point, right before the market reverses. How many times has this happened to you? You watch price move, you hesitate, you wait too long. Then finally you can't resist. You jump in, hoping to catch the move, and within minutes it turns against you. That is greed's trap. It takes your patience and replaces it with desperation. Another way greed traps traders is by pushing them to risk more than they should. You take one win, and suddenly you feel confident. You tell yourself, if I just double my lot size on the next trade, I can make twice as much, and maybe once or twice it works. But eventually, the loss comes. And because you risked too much, the loss destroys everything you built. Greed blinds you to risk. It makes you forget that trading is a game of survival. These traps repeat themselves over and over. Hold too long, enter too late, risk too much, trade too often. Each one feels different, but at the core, they are all the same. They are greed convincing you to abandon your plan. I fell for all of these traps. I remember nights when I couldn't sleep because I replayed the trades in my head, asking myself, why did I do that? Why didn't I just stick to my rules? And the answer was always the same. Because greed told me not to. Because I listened to that voice that promised me more. But here's what you must understand. The traps are not proof that you are weak. They are proof that you are human. Greed is part of human nature. It will never go away. But you can learn to expect it. You can learn to see it for what it is. You can learn to prepare for it, just as you prepare for liquidity sweeps and order blocks. Think of it like this. In September through December, the markets will offer extraordinary opportunities. Volatility will be higher, trends will be stronger, and liquidity will be deeper. That means potential profits will also be bigger. But bigger opportunity also means bigger temptation. Greed will tell you to hold longer than you should. Greed will tell you to jump in without confirmation. Greed will tell you to risk more because the reward looks so good. And if you aren't ready, those traps will destroy you. But if you prepare, if you learn to see greed's traps, then you can sidestep them. You can let the other 90% fall into them while you walk away with consistent gains. I want you to imagine yourself in November, sitting at your desk. The market is moving fast. Price sweeps liquidity, confirms, and your plan gives you the signal. You enter, you follow your rules, and you take profit exactly as planned. You hear greed whisper, "Stay longer, make more," but you ignore it. You close. You lock in the win. Later, when you review, you see that price reversed. You see that if you had listened to greed, you would have lost. But because you stayed disciplined, you finished the trade smiling. That is how you avoid the trap, and the best part is this. Every time you avoid a trap, every time you resist greed, you become stronger. You build a habit, and habits are what shape your trading career. One choice may seem small in the moment, but repeated day after day, it becomes who you are. And who you are is a disciplined trader. Greed will always set traps, but you don't have to fall into them. You can learn to step around them. You can learn to use them as proof that you are growing. And when the big opportunities arrive in the last months of the year, you will be ready. Because while others are falling into greed's traps, you will be walking away with profit. Greed is powerful, but it is not unstoppable. The truth is, every trader has the tools to control it. The problem is not that we don't know what to do. The problem is that we don't use the tools we already have. Controlling greed begins with awareness, grows with habit, and is sustained by discipline. And once you build this foundation, greed loses its grip. The first tool is the trading plan. It sounds simple, maybe even boring, but it is the most powerful weapon you have. A plan tells you when to enter, when to exit, how much to risk, and when to stop trading. The plan is the voice of reason that drowns out the whispers of greed. The mistake most traders make is that they write a plan, but they don't follow it. They treat it like a suggestion instead of a law. But when you treat your plan as absolute, when you promise yourself that you will never break it, something changes inside you. I remember the first time I forced myself to follow my plan exactly. It wasn't easy. Price reached my target, and greed screamed, "Hold it longer." But I clicked close. And as I watched price reverse minutes later, I realized how powerful that moment was. By following the plan, I didn't just protect my profit. I proved to myself that I was in control. That small win was more valuable than the money itself, because it built trust in my own discipline. The second tool is journaling, writing down every trade, every decision, every emotion. Most traders avoid this because it feels tedious. But journaling is where you confront your greed face to face. When you see your mistakes on paper, when you write, "I broke my rule because I wanted more," it becomes harder to lie to yourself. And when you review your journal week after week, you begin to see patterns. You begin to see the traps greed sets for you again and again. Awareness is the first step to change, and journaling gives you that awareness. The third tool is risk management. Risk is the anchor that keeps you steady when greed tries to push you further out to sea. If you risk too much, greed has complete control, because every win feels like a chance to get rich quickly. But when you risk small, greed loses power. You know that one trade cannot destroy you. You know that even if you take a loss, you will survive. Risk management is not about being safe. It is about giving yourself the freedom to be disciplined. The fourth tool is routines. Trading is emotional because it feels uncertain, but routines create stability. A routine of waking up at the same time, preparing your charts the same way, reviewing the same checklist before every trade. These habits build a rhythm that protects you from impulse. Greed thrives in chaos, but routines create calm. The fifth tool is visualization. Before you trade, picture yourself closing at your target. Picture yourself resisting greed. Picture yourself sticking to your plan no matter what. Your mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. When you visualize discipline, you are training yourself to live it. I remember a period where I lost 3 trades in a row because of greed. I was holding too long, chasing too far. I felt angry at myself, so I made a decision. Before every trade, I would close my eyes and imagine the moment greed whispered in my ear. I imagined it saying, "Hold longer." And I imagined myself smiling, clicking close, and walking away with profit. After weeks of doing this, the moment in real life became easier. The temptation was still there, but it felt familiar. I had practiced saying no. And because I had practiced, I was ready. The sixth tool is community. Trading alone can make greed stronger because there is no one to hold you accountable. But when you share your plan with others, when you connect with traders who value discipline, you feel supported. You remind yourself that you are not alone, that others are fighting the same battle. Greed isolates you. Community strengthens you. The final tool is perspective. You must constantly remind yourself that trading is not about one trade. It is about thousands of trades over years. Greed wants you to believe that this trade, right now, is the one that will change everything. But perspective tells you the truth. This trade is just one step in a long journey. You do not need to win it all today. You only need to stay consistent. Now think about what's coming in the months ahead. September through December will bring opportunities that can transform accounts. But only if you are ready. Only if you use these tools. A plan to guide you. A journal to remind you. Risk management to protect you. Routines to ground you. Visualization to train you. Community to support you. Perspective to keep you calm. With these tools, greed cannot control you. Without them, the volatility will destroy you. Imagine yourself in December, looking back on the last 4 months. Imagine the pride of knowing you used every tool. You stuck to your plan. You wrote in your journal. You managed your risk. You resisted temptation again and again. And because of that, your account grew. But more importantly, your discipline grew. That is what separates you from the 90% who fail. The truth is, you will always feel greed. It will never disappear. But with the right tools, it will never control you. You will see it, you will acknowledge it, and then you will rise above it. And when you do, the market will reward you. There is a difference between fighting greed and transforming it. Fighting greed means you are always in battle with yourself, always pushing back against that voice that says, "Take more." But turning greed into discipline means using that same energy for something powerful. It means taking the hunger for more and directing it toward mastery instead of impulse. Greed says, "I want more profit now." Discipline says, "I want more consistency over time." Greed says, "I need to win this trade." Discipline says, "I need to follow my plan." Greed looks at the next 5 minutes. Discipline looks at the next 5 years. I learned this lesson in one of the hardest but most valuable weeks of my trading journey. It was late November, a time when the markets were alive with volatility. I had already hit my profit goal for the week. My plan said stop. But greed whispered louder than ever. This is the season of opportunity. Don't walk away. Just one more trade. And so I listened. That one more trade turned into 3. By the end of the week, I had given back everything. I had earned and more. I sat there in silence, staring at the numbers. Anger, shame, frustration. But beneath it all was something else. Realization. I wasn't losing because I didn't know how to trade. I was losing because I didn't know how to control myself. And in that moment, I decided to change. I decided that the energy greed gave me, the hunger for more, the desire to push further, would no longer go into chasing trades. It would go into building discipline. The next week, I created a new rule. I would stop after 2 trades, win or lose. I would journal every decision. I would focus not on how much money I made, but on how closely I followed my plan. And every time greed whispered in my ear, I told myself, this is the test. This is where traders are made or broken. If I can control myself here, I can control myself anywhere. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I felt like walking away with a small win was weakness. But then I remembered what happened when I gave in to greed. That memory became fuel. Every time I chose discipline, I felt stronger. I began to realize that discipline is not about denying yourself. Discipline is about protecting yourself. It is not about holding you back. It is about keeping you alive long enough to succeed. This is how you turn greed into discipline. You don't destroy the desire for more. You redirect it. You stop measuring yourself by how much money you make. You start measuring yourself by how disciplined you are. And when you do that, everything changes. Think about what's coming in the months ahead. September through December are filled with opportunity. The price action will be sharp, liquidity will be abundant, and institutions will move the market with precision. If you are greedy, this volatility will destroy you. But if you are disciplined, it will build you. Because volatility rewards those who can lock in, take profit, and walk away. It rewards those who can ignore the temptation for one more trade and wait for the next clean setup. Imagine a trader in October. He takes a trade, follows his plan, and exits with profit. Greed tells him to keep going. But he walks away. The next day, he does the same. And the day after that. By December, his account is not doubled overnight. It is steadily grown, protected, and alive. That trader is still standing. Meanwhile, the greedy trader who couldn't stop is already blown out. Discipline is what allows you to be here tomorrow. Discipline is what allows you to see the end of the year with pride instead of regret. And here is the real secret. Discipline eventually becomes freedom. At first, it feels like chains. You tell yourself, I can't trade more, I can't hold longer, I can't risk bigger. But with time, you realize discipline is not holding you back. It is protecting you from yourself. It is creating consistency. And consistency is the only path to freedom. The greedy trader burns out. The disciplined trader builds wealth. The greedy trader lives in chaos. The disciplined trader lives in peace. The greedy trader quits. The disciplined trader endures, and endurance is everything. Because trading is not about today. It is about the months and years ahead. September through December 2025 will bring opportunities for those who endure. If you can survive the test of greed, if you can turn that hunger into discipline, you will not just finish the year stronger. You will enter the next year with momentum, with confidence, and with control. So let me leave you with this thought. Every time greed whispers in your ear, it is not a curse. It is a test. It is the market asking, are you ready? Are you strong enough? Can you control yourself when it matters most? And every time you choose discipline, you are answering yes. You are proving to yourself that you are ready. Turn your greed into discipline. Turn your hunger for more into a hunger for mastery. And let that discipline carry you into the opportunities that await. The final months of the year are always different. September, October, November, December. These are not ordinary months. They are months when liquidity flows, when institutions reposition themselves, when volatility increases, and when some of the most powerful moves of the entire year take place. If you talk to experienced traders, they will tell you the same thing. These are the months that can make your year. These are the months that test your discipline and reward your patience. I want you to imagine it now. It is September 2025. The summer quiet is over. Volume returns. The charts feel alive again. You open your platform, and you see movement that is sharper, cleaner, faster. The market is waking up, and with that awakening comes opportunity. But opportunity alone is not enough. Because when the market wakes up, greed wakes up, too. Greed will tell you this is the time to go all in. This is the time to risk bigger, to chase harder, to finally make everything you dreamed of in one big trade. But if you fall for that voice, you will not last. The same volatility that can make you will destroy you if you let greed lead the way. But if you have been building discipline, if you have practiced controlling yourself, if you have trained your patience, then these months will not break you. They will build you. Every spike of volatility will be an opportunity to take clean profits. Every sweep of liquidity will be a chance to align with the institutions instead of fighting against them. Think about what happens in December. Institutions close their books for the year. They rebalance, they reposition, they drive price in ways that create massive opportunity for those who are prepared. Most retail traders will be reckless. They will chase every move, they will blow accounts, they will end the year in regret. But you don't have to be one of them. You can end the year strong. You can end the year with confidence, with growth, with proof that your discipline is real. I remember my first disciplined December. It wasn't the biggest month in terms of money, but it was the month that changed everything. I stuck to my plan every single day. I ignored greed every single trade. I took profit, walked away, and let the next setup come. And when the year closed, I looked back not just at my balance, but at myself. I realized I had grown stronger. I had built a foundation, and that foundation carried me into the next year with momentum. That is what I want for you. I want you to step into September ready, not afraid. I want you to look at October's volatility with calm, not desperation. I want you to face November's opportunities with courage, not recklessness. And I want you to finish December with pride, not regret, because these months are not just about profit. They are about proving to yourself that you can control greed, that you can stay disciplined, that you can be patient in the face of temptation. And when you do that, the profits will follow. They will come naturally as a reflection of your discipline. So let me ask you this. When September comes, who will you be? Will you be the trader chasing every candle, falling into every trap, listening to greed until your account is gone? Or will you be the trader who waits, who follows the plan, who takes profit, who survives and who thrives? That choice is yours. But know this: the opportunities will be there. The market will move. The setups will appear. The volatility will reward those who are prepared. If you control greed, if you trust your discipline, if you lock in now. September through December 2025 can be the most powerful season of your trading journey. You don't need to predict every move. You don't need to win every trade. You only need to control yourself. Because when you master yourself, the market can no longer control you. And when the market cannot control you, you are finally free. So as we close this journey together, remember this: greed will always whisper. It will always tempt. But you are stronger than that voice. You are disciplined. You are patient. You are resilient. And when the time comes, you will be ready. The months ahead are waiting. The opportunities are waiting. Your future as a trader is waiting. Step into it with discipline. Step into it with courage. Step into it without greed. And the market will reward you more than you ever imagined.